Hi, everybody. This is Amy Lane, the Literate Yogi, and today I have a very special guest that I'm going to be interviewing. It is Tynne Love, and Tynne Love is a certified clinical herbalist, but a whole lot more than that. So I thought I would bring her on and let us get to know her a little bit better. Hi, Tynne.
Hi, thanks so much for having me on.
Well,
You know,
thanks
we
for coming.
we've connected for a long time. We've been talking about this and it's finally happening. The day
Yeah,
of a blizzard.
I know. It's fabulous out though, isn't it?
It is. It is.
So I know Tynne from we were going to do a training with you at the Women's Consortium, and that got canceled for some reason. I don't remember what it was, but um,
COVID happened.
yeah, right. So and then I got to meet you at the Westport Farmers Market.
Yes.
And I bought a product of yours, which was the allergy elixir for my son who has asthma and a lot of seasonal allergies.
And it's that time again.
I'm going to purchase it. I know you already made it, so I'm super excited. I'm going to do it this weekend. But it made a huge difference. I can't even tell you what it did for him.
Yeah.
So part of his, on top of the asthma, which wasn't so much. I mean, he has the asthma, but a lot of it is that he's allergic to grass and tree pollen. So
And he
really
was
from
seasonal.
right, but really from spring all the way through till maybe the very end of autumn, because obviously things are constantly, blooming throughout the season. So he would have like really red, itchy eyes, and he would like just get raw underneath his eyes, and it was just like, and his eyes would just burn. So we did this every single day, and he did not have that at all.
Yeah.
Now we ran out, obviously, because you're only supposed to, I only did it obviously when we were in the season, but now it's starting up again, and so I'm like, I got to get some of this stuff again because this
Yeah.
was really a game changer. So, but I just wanted to just touch base with you with that and tell you how, I mean, you made a difference in our household here. So
Amazing.
appreciate
Amazing. I love herbs. What works for one person isn't always going to work for another person. And that's why just going into Whole Foods and like choosing an herb that is supposedly for cold and flu season is not going to work for everyone. And that's the art of herbalism, is finding the right herbs with the right person. Luckily, the allergy syrup, which is a general syrup, right? I didn't do anything different for your son. Just, had a basic syrup. It worked for him. But sometimes that doesn't always work for people. And and that's where like consultations come
Mhm.
in, and where someone would work with me one-on-one, and we'd go a little bit deeper, because finding the right herb for the right person is much it works better than just picking something up off of a shelf at
Mhm.
Whole Foods. And that's why a lot of people think that, herbs don't work, is because they might have picked an herb for their condition, but it didn't work for them because it's not the right herb for them.
Right.
And the depth of that is much further than we're going to go into today. But yeah, herbs are amazing in it. It always I know that herbs work, but hearing that every time, it makes my heart sing. Right. And I know, yes, like
Yeah.
natural remedies are real. They really do work. They're not snake oil. They do work.
So Tina, tell us about your journey. How did you get into herbs?
Yeah. Um, this was the last thing that I wanted to do. You could see I have like a wall of herbs behind me right now. Actually, my mom is an herbalist. So I'm a second generation clinical herbalist. And so it was never what I wanted to do. Right. I was in
Your mother, right?
yeah, we did not want to be my mom. But yeah, I was a singer and I was an actress. And I'd always been sick. growing up. And doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I was throwing up a lot all the time. Doctors told my mom I was bulimic, and I was in and out of psychiatrists,
Mhm.
um, telling them, listen, it's a physical issue that's happening inside. And finally, I got to a point where I was out in Los Angeles, really, really sick all the time. Was on a very strict diet, working with naturopaths. Still wasn't working. I had developed an ulcer. Food was no longer going down. A lot of inflammation. And finally, I met someone that said, Tina, you have to do a 21-day water fast, and you have to eat raw food. And I was like, that's the last thing I'm going to do. And it was the last thing that I did. I did a 21-day water fast, and it was enough for the inflammation to go down and for my body to heal and to really understand a relationship with food. And for a couple of years, it was great. And then it started happening again. And my mom said, listen, let's just try some herbs. And at that point, I was eating an all raw diet. And I said, no, you have to cook the herbs. I can't.
Mhm.
But I got sick enough to actually try it. And that's when we try things, right? Is when we're actually so sick and nothing else is working. Doctors aren't helping us. So I did, and my health started going up again. And so that's how it all came to be, is because herbs worked for me. I found a solution that actually worked for me, So, and it's not just herbs, right? It's a whole lifestyle change. It's what I'm putting in my body, what my relationship is with food, what my relationship is with the plants, and how I work with my body. So that's how I got into herbalism. During my 21-day water fast, I actually thought I was going a little insane because I was connecting with nature outside. I was hearing the birds speaking to me and hearing the plants speaking to me. And then a couple years later, it was still happening. And I said, okay, if this is my journey, if this is where I'm supposed to go,
Right. It was like a portal.
yeah, if this is, if you're talking to me and this is what I'm supposed to be doing and connecting with, you need to send me a huge sign, not a little sign. You have to send me a huge sign. And I told nature, I said, listen, I need reishi mushroom. I just need you to connect me with reishi mushroom. We didn't have a single tree in our yard. We just had a dead maple stump. And within 2 weeks, reishi mushrooms started growing on this dead stump right outside our door. I'll show you.
Wow. That's crazy.
This beauty here is one of the rishis that was growing
Oh,
on the stump. And yes, so I heard the call, and I took it. And I said, okay, well, I'm part Native American, so I need a teacher who's really going to connect with me in that level. I teach Qigong. I'm really into the Chinese herbs. I need someone who does that as well. And I need to know all the Western herbs, all the herbs that are around me. You find me a teacher like that, and I will study. And within another 2 weeks, there was a program that was going on by a man named David Winston, who is one of the most amazing clinical herbalists. And he's part Cherokee. And so he teaches that. He teaches the very clinical side because I needed that base and that grounding
mhm.
of all of the clinical stuff, not just the woo-woo, like
Right. Right.
this herb brings clarity. I already knew all that, but I needed all of the clinical side to it. So
Science.
I started studying with David Winston, and he's one of my main teachers for clinical herbalism.
Now, I know that people, you said something, and I know people are going to just like hook on this, but what is the 21-day water fasting? Is it literally just water? Is it tea?
Yeah, so
That?
there's many different belief systems and ways to do it. And if anybody's going to do it, I highly recommend not doing it alone.
Mm.
Um, there's a water fasting center in Northern California that I recommend because it's doctor supervised, and it's called True North.
Mm.
And water fasting is not cheap. It's on the expensive side, but you want that supervision. My blood pressure went real low. I did faint a couple of times. Luckily, I had a roommate who was there with me. I was at a fasting center, which was in Panama, and they're now moved to um, Costa Rica. They're not doctor supervised. And I feel that my responsibility as an herbalist, as a human, is to send someone where I feel is going to be the safest place for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's lots of different water fasting centers, and I've been to a few of them, and I can't recommend any of those
Right.
for many different reasons, but it was just completely water for 21 days. And there's a way of going into a water fast, right? Like you're not just eating like you normally would eat before going into the water fast. There's a whole bunch of preparation that's involved so that your body can eliminate properly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and basically, you're giving your organs of elimination and digestion the rest that it needs so that the body can heal and put the energy towards healing rather than towards digestion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it was a very intense time. My ulcer healed during it. I also worked as an intern there for 4 months after,
Mm-hmm.
and got to see a lot of different things, different healings happen for people, you know, who could barely see, um, you know, could see again. People who had terrible arthritis, like pianists who had terrible arthritis, couldn't play the piano anymore, were now playing the piano. But of course, this is all while I was there. I was seeing things happen while I was there. Who knows what happens afterwards? You know, are they continuing on with a healthy, low inflammation diet, or are they going back to eating whatever they want to eat? I
Right.
I also saw some people go through some terrible breakdowns. One person ran off with my luggage. So I had to buy new luggage before I left, because she absolutely was not going to stay another day longer, and she couldn't get to her luggage, so she just took mine. Um, I know there was a guy who was there and had a strong Christian belief system, and the water fast was challenging his belief in God, and he broke down. He went, he bought a basket of fried chicken in the middle of the water fast.
Oh.
Totally did him in.
Yep.
Came back speaking another language, like just nonsense language. The police actually brought him back. He was laying in the middle of the road. He wanted to die. He wanted a bus to run him over. So this is why I'm saying I highly recommend, if you're going to do a water fast, you don't know mentally how you're going to be able to handle it. Physically, what's going to happen to you?
Right.
Yeah, and so many different things can happen. And some people have a very easy, simple water fast. And then there's liquid fasts and other things you can do. I was a raw vegan chef for many, many years at a place called Catch a Healthy Habit in Fairfield. And they do a liquid cleanse, which is a much easier way of doing a fast. And it's a much gentler way. Um, but a water fast does heal a lot of things, and you can go online and do some research and see all of the things that it claims to heal. Yeah, really intense, but a beautiful part of my life.
Yeah, like I said, it seemed to have opened up something in you that you didn't have before.
Yeah, there was a connection. There
I was
was
just going to say connection with the universe, and now you have this open line of communication. It sounds like.
definitely it's still there. And I do water fasts. I did a 23-day water fast a couple of years ago. It's not something I do every year, but when I feel that I need healing again, and I'm open to trying different things. I also teach up at the Raw Food Institute, which is up in Simsbury, with Lisa Wilson, and she's incredible. Everybody should follow her. And
Okay.
you take everything with a grain of salt, right? You listen to people and you take in what resonates with you, and leave behind what doesn't resonate with
Right.
you.
Right.
But Lisa does week-long retreats, and it's not completely raw. And some of it is like recreational raw, right? Like there's healing raw, and then there's recreational raw. So there's many different ways that you can bring healing into your life with changing food up. Maybe doing intermittent fasting. I don't recommend eating too much fat, like the keto stuff. I've just had to help so many people heal their livers
Yeah. Yeah.
after that.
So you just brought up another thing that kind of went off in my head, because this is something that I am doing, which I'm doing naturally. Just like all of a sudden people are like, oh, it's intermittent fasting, but I had always eaten this way. Is that something that you like? How can herbalism fit into that piece?
Right. So intermittent fasting, you can start your day maybe with lemon water,
Mhm.
and some different herbal teas to help support the organs of elimination. I make what I call a dandelion detox support tea, and it's not strictly liver, but it's all the organs of elimination. When people focus on detox, they tend to think just liver, right? And we totally avoid the rest of the body, but we can't have one without the other because they're all working together. And there's a book called The Holistic Anatomy if you want to learn more about how the body works together. It's an amazing, easy book. Anatomy and physiology is not easy. This makes it really understandable. Working with the lymphatic system, working with the kidneys, the whole urinary system, as well as the liver, and doing a tea that helps support that in the morning, right? Leaving the fats out for a bit until maybe you get until noon,
Mhm.
and then maybe having those. That's more of what I do.
Okay. So, when you were just talking about the detox, I'll tell you, when my other son, was diagnosed with mono, and you know how it is in the traditional medical world. It's just a virus, and you're just going to have to let it run its course. And he was a runner and a student, and he had to be in school, sort of. He needed to do that. And so I did some herbal research, and I ended up putting together some teas, and one of them included the dandelion. And again, it made a huge difference. He was actually able to not even just function. It was better than functioning. He didn't miss any school. He was still able to go to his practices. He was still tired, but he didn't have that exhaustion that people have with the mono. Um, and and as kids do, and even adults, when you start to feel better, you stop doing it. And so he stopped doing it, and then he hit a wall, and then he was like, I got to get back on this tea again. And he got back on the tea, and it took a long time. It took months, but it was definitely something that supported the detox of the virus, and also helped with his immune system. And I'm just a true believer in this stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When you find something that works,
Yeah.
Stick with it. And it's okay to go off of it for a little bit and to come back on. But it is human rationing that we do. We think, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm better now. I don't need to take this anymore. And I see that happen with a lot of clients that come to me, especially with some sort of inflammatory issue going on, whether it be Lyme co-infections, rheumatoid arthritis. Um,
Yeah.
we're already seeing a lot happening in the body because of this new virus that's here that I'm not going to name. um,
Like Voldemort in Harry Potter. Not going to name it. Right.
yeah, these robobots are
Yeah.
tuning into that. So, yeah, but we tend to think, okay, well, I don't need to take it anymore. I'm tired of taking it. Let me go back to my soda, or let me, and then the body says no.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's even harsher, right? It comes back and it's like, I told you no.
Right. Right.
And
So
so
are people asking you for things for the thing that's going on right now?
yes. So when it first happened, basically what I did, and it's still open to anyone, I'm doing consultations for families, right? Because for those of us who don't live alone and we live in an entire household, um, we might all have different symptoms. I'm doing consultations for families for free. The only thing that you pay for is you pay for the herbs that I put together for you. But yeah, I actually haven't been seeing a lot of people in the past few months. Even colds and flus are really down. I'm not seeing a lot of that going on, which is nice. It's great. But yeah, I have that offer out on the table for anyone, and those are the only kind of consultations that I'm doing right now, so that I can focus on that and help people that are going through that.
Mhm.
With this virus, there's so many different stages to it. Right. And what we do early stage is not what we're going to do mid stage or at the end stage or during recovery. We're finding, certain people have an attack on the heart, certain people are having more attack on the lungs, and these long-term effects. So, really working to heal certain things, certain aspects of that. And again, that's not something that we can go into Whole Foods or the health food store, pick something off the shelf. That's going to be an individual thing, because as with most everything, how a strawberry reacts to you is going to be different than how it reacts to someone else.
Right. Right. I love that. And it's such a it you become, I guess what's I mean, I don't want to say like a friend, but really it's a personal, it's a personal connection. It's more personal than, a physician,
Definitely.
especially when you're adding nature to it. I mean,
Right.
you get any more personal than that.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. Now,
Yeah.
I know that you do farmers markets, and what is your most popular item?
That would be my elderberry syrup. I've been doing that for 20 years. Mom and I got started 20 years ago making the elderberry syrup. Let's see. I have an empty bottle back
My
here.
friend Sharon swears by it.
Yeah, and it's in some stores in Connecticut as well. But yeah, so I work with several Connecticut farms. I have a small urban farm myself. We have over 300 organic elderberry bushes. And there's Connecticut honey in it as well. And then I formulate it using rose hips, hibiscus, and currants, so that it's more vitamin C, higher anti-inflammatory, antihistamine as well. And elderberry great herb for right now. It's got lots of studies showing how antiviral it is. It's one of the most studied herbs. Um, and also it's a great respiratory herb. So, so
So
for
how
you,
do you take
as
it?
you can use it as a preventative,
Uh-huh.
right? And then you would just do a spoon a day. Right now, I'm drinking, I can't show you because I would tip the cup, but I'm drinking an elderberry latte. And
Ooh.
so I've just taken 2 spoons of elderberry syrup, a little bit of oat milk, and a lot of hot water, and just drinking that right now. So that's my elderberry latte, no caffeine or anything.
Love
Um,
it.
yeah, you can take it just by the spoon because a lot of the stuff that's on the market is really watered down, has a bitter taste because of the different herbs that they're adding to it
Mhm.
or the different preservatives that they're adding to it.
Right.
Mine has absolutely no preservatives. It's just the honey that's in there. Has a shelf life of a year. Once you open it, you're going to keep it in the fridge. But another great way to take it is I like to put some in some seltzer water and make like an elderberry soda,
Ooh.
right? Kids love it, but I'm all about how do we get more herbs in a playful, fun way so that we're not simply thinking, okay, like time to take the medicine.
Right, right, or tea, right.
How do
So
we play? How do we have
how do
fun?
you expand on that?
How do we add it more into food and into our daily life? Because there's only so many cups of tea you can drink in a day.
Right,
Now we're all home. It might be a little easier because we're not having to use the bathroom every
right,
half hour.
right.
But still, um, adding herbs into our food, grinding different herbs, making different spices, using
Mhm.
them as syrups, um, making your tea, right? I have an amazing chaga chai tea, which is really anti-inflammatory, building and strengthening for the immune system. But again, it's a tea. So teas only last in the fridge for up to 3 days before bacteria really starts to grow. So you can, once it's cooled down, you can pour it into ice cube trays. You know?
Oh,
Let that freeze, add that to your smoothies. Um,
great idea. I like that.
yeah, smoothies are a great way to get herbs in. And instead of adding water or regular ice, now you're adding that in and
Right.
you're boosting your medicinal content inside. So it's now really a superfood.
Oh, I love that because we do a lot of smoothies around here. So that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. For people who love to have their coffee, you
yes,
know,
maybe.
I I have a chaga chai spice and you can add your medicinal mushrooms in that way.
Mhm.
You can add your elderberry into your coffee as well. There's so many different ways that you can get herbs in. Cinnamon's amazing.
Mhm.
Cinnamon can help to lower blood sugar. Um, it can help with sugar cravings as well, right? When you're making your coffee, add some cinnamon in
That's
there.
a good idea. Okay, sometimes I do, most times I don't. Okay, so that's good. All right. So now I see lots of herbs behind you.
Yes.
Are those all from your farm?
A lot of them are, but no, not all of them. A lot of things don't actually grow around here.
Okay.
So these are just for me.
Oh my goodness.
These are my personal go-to play herbs. I
So
wish you
you
could
out.
smell some things. These are hops right here that we grew.
Wow.
The hops, they have about a 6-month shelf life. So I've got to use them up within 6 months. But these are beautiful babies, not just for making beer. They're actually highly medicinal as well, very calming and soothing to the nervous system. So whenever I feel like making something new or playing, I come in here and I put something together.
Wow. what else on the shelf is a favorite of yours?
Let's see. Um, have you ever tried Schisandra berries?
No.
Okay, Schisandra berries are really fun. They're called the 5 flavor fruit because when you take a bite inside of them, it's got all the 5 flavors. It's got sweet, it's got sour, it's got salty, it's got bitter, it's got everything in there. So it kind of reminds me of one of those sweet and sour candies. And Schisandra is a beautiful adaptogen. I have Schisandra growing outside. It can grow here. It's originally from China.
Okay.
But it's an adaptogen, so it helps how your body handles stress. It helps you adapt to how
Right.
you're handling stress and anxiety. It's
Mhm.
also a beautiful aphrodisiac. A little goes a long way. I like to put a little bit inside of a smoothie. It also is very supportive for the blood. So I make a blood tonic syrup called my Nourish syrup,
Mhm.
and that's inside of there. But just a couple of berries is all you need because it can be really overpowering. But that's a really fun one that I like to grow and eat as well. Um, let's see. I have so many herbs over here right now. Um, Mugwort.
I love mugwort, yes.
Yeah, so mugwort grows all around here. It was brought over, we think, from Asia. It's what they use in Chinese medicine, moxibustion, for using on the skin, the moxa.
Mhm.
So for healing, um, lucid dreaming,
Mhm.
right? So it's a,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, but it was planted along the streets for protection. And so people would take it and put it inside of their shoes and walk along the streets with it in their shoes. And it would help them on their journey as a protective herb, but also it would help with blisters and things like that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's everywhere. It literally is like everywhere along the sides of the roads. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and it's a great cleanser. Like a lot of people use sage. Well,
Yeah.
sage doesn't grow around here. So what can we use that does grow around here is very prolific. Let's use one of these people call invasive species. I
Right.
like to call opportunistic, right? Because
Yeah.
the plant actually has a lot to say. Here it is everywhere. Let's connect with the plant and let's work with it. One
Right.
of the books, and I know you have a book club.
I do.
Um, one of the books that I really enjoy, this one's by Timothy Lee Scott. It's called Invasive Plant Medicine. And I would change the title of the book to Opportunistic Plant Medicine. But yeah, it's all about how can we work with these plants that are seemingly disrupting the local ecosystem, but do they have a message? What is their message? How can we work with them? Um, and mugwort is eaten a lot too in Japanese food. So we're not going to go hungry if we know how to go out and harvest the right plants
Right.
sustainably without over harvesting
Right. Right.
and intentionally.
So now I just have one last question for you. So what do you recommend? And this is personal, but what can you recommend for hot flashes?
Well, that is a loaded question right there. The biggest thing that I would say is clean up your diet, and then also clean up the organs of elimination. I do have a tea that I make for women to help support them to kind of balance out the hormones. And if you were at the farmer's market and you were having a hot flash, I would reach into my pocket and I would grab some peppermint essential oil and I would have you put it on the back of your neck,
Yes.
right? That's a nice little Band-Aid for when you need it right away. But it's definitely amazing how some women have no hot flashes and then others are really affected by it. And one of the biggest, easiest changes you can make is to clean up your diet, and stay away from things that are making your organs have to work a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I do do a few supplements. I do the chase tree. I use that, and that's made a huge difference for me.
Yep.
So grateful for that. I think probably the biggest thing for me, honestly, is probably to get rid of caffeine, but I'm not willing to do that. I love my coffee. I'm sorry.
Because we all know what happens
Right.
with caffeine and the hormones.
Right. I know this, but you take the good with the bad, I guess. So.
Right. And especially at a time like right now, we don't want to completely take everything out. And that's why working with a person and knowing what is going to work for them and meeting them where they're at, rather than telling them, go do a water fast and we're going to start from the beginning and we're going to slowly add back foods in. That's not going to work for most people.
Right.
And you're not alone. I think 99% of people would say, I'm not getting rid of my coffee.
Right.
But
go ahead.
But I would say starting to switch out and not going from like caffeinated to decaf, but to add some other things like some roasted dandelion and some roasted chicory in, and starting to get a taste for that, bringing that in. You said you like your chasteberry, your Vitex. That's a great one. Sage is sage for the wise women.
Oh yeah.
That's another beautiful herb to add in. And that's another one that's in my tea blend. That's normally not at the farmer's market. So if someone wanted it, I would say, reach out to me and I can make that.
Okay. So how do people reach out to you?
That's the beautiful question. I'm on Instagram as Herbal Deva, Deva.
Not Deva.
Not Deva. I'm a diva. But just quickly, the name Deva in Sanskrit means body of light. But in the herbal realm, the word Deva refers to the nature spirits. So each living thing has a Deva that governs it, right? Every tiger, every plant, the humans, we all have our own Devas, and the Devas hold all of the information. And so when you're connecting with a plant, you're also connecting with the Deva, and the Deva is the one that is bringing you the information. So that's where Herbal Deva comes from.
And that's beautiful. That kind of, when you speak like that, it I don't want to say it forces you, but you find more respect.
Yeah.
And when you look at it that way.
Yeah, exactly. So I recommend everybody getting one plant this year and connecting with one plant. Make it an herb if you'd like, but if not, just finding a plant and connecting that with a plant and working with that plant. You'll find that is one of the most healing things that you can do. not even having to take the leaves of the plant and work with that and take it internally, but just having a connection with another living thing that you respect and know holds a lot of knowledge.
I love that. I love that idea. So you said people can connect with you on Instagram.
On Instagram, on Facebook, it's Tynne Love, Tynne Love, clinical community herbalist. And my website is Herbal Deva. That's Herbal Deva, Deva.com.
That's fabulous. Well, Tynne, thank you so much. This was wonderful. Really
Thank
appreciate
you
you
so
doing
much. And we will connect personally to work more with you individually.
Yeah. 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 Yes.
And make a great formula for you.
Great. Thank you so much, Tynne. And thank you guys so much for continuing to support the Literate Yogi by watching these videos. And that's it. Peace out. Bye.